Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the hidden stories in corporate filings. But this time, with a twist, we're revisiting an old report to see what new tricks the company has up its sleeve. So, we're diving deep into an amendment to Barfresh Food Group's annual report. They filed an amendment, which is basically like a company saying, oops, we forgot something important in our last big report. Let's add it now. And this amendment is all about filling in the blanks for some key details about their leadership, compensation, and who owns what. Alright, let's get straight to it. Barfresh Food Group Incorporated is filing an amendment to its annual report. It is like they're adding extra chapters to their yearly story. This is amendment number 1. They originally filed their big annual report, and now they're adding in some information that they skipped the first time around, usually because they were waiting for other documents to be finalized. Keep an eye on this commission file number. It is like their unique ID in the world of SEC filings. The company at the center of our attention today is Barfresh Food Group Incorporated. They're in the business of making fresh smoothies, and this filing is helping us understand more about the people running the show and who benefits from the company's success. One quick detail they mention is their incorporation state. Delaware. Many companies choose Delaware for legal and business advantages. Their common stock is traded on the Nasdaq capital market under the ticker symbol BRF. Seeing it on Nasdaq means it is a publicly traded company, and investors can buy and sell shares. Here is a quick check. They are not considered a well-known seasoned issuer. This usually means they are a smaller company that does not have a huge amount of public stock or a long history of filing large reports that are extensively reviewed by the SEC. And importantly, they are classified as a smaller reporting company. This tells us a lot about their size and the amount of financial data they are required to provide. It means they have less stringent reporting requirements compared to larger companies. As of mid-2024, the market value of shares held by people who are not part of the company leadership or insiders was about $28.8 million. This gives us a snapshot of their public market valuation at that time. And by early 2025, there were over 15.8 million shares of their common stock floating around. The number of shares outstanding is crucial for understanding ownership percentages. Now, for the main reason for this amendment, the company is filing this to add information for items 10 through 14 of Part 3 of their annual report. These sections typically cover directors, executive compensation, security ownership, related transactions, and accounting fees. They likely didn't include this originally because they planned to incorporate it by reference from their proxy statement. But that statement wasn't filed in time. The filing then lays out its table of contents, guiding us through the added sections. Let's zoom into what is inside. We're now in part 2, which is where the real people, focused details live. First up, we look at the folks steering the ship. This section details the company's directors and executive officers. Here is a look at the key players. We've got Ricardo Delacoste as President, CEO, and Chairman, Lisa Roger as Chief Financial Officer, and several directors like Stephen Lang, Joseph M. Jean, Alexander H. Ware, Isabel Ortiz, Cochet, and Justin Boris. Their ages are also listed, giving us a sense of the experience level at the top. Ricardo Delacoste is the top dog, leading the company since way back in 2012. He is credited with developing their unique smoothie system. Lisa Roger joined as CFO in early 2022, bringing experience from previous roles in accounting and corporate controllership. Stephen Lang has been a director since the company's early days in 2012, with extensive experience in business, accounting, and law. His qualifications highlight over 40 years in the field. Joseph M. Jean joined the board in 2014 and also held a role as president of a subsidiary. His background is in the food and restaurant industry, including leadership roles at Pepsi Company. Alexander H. Ware, a director since 2016, has a strong background in finance and strategic development, with past experience at Buffalo Wild Wings and Pepsi Americas. Isabel Ortiz Cochet, appointed in late 2016, is the Chief Investment Officer for Unibel, the parent company of Bell Group, a major international food company. Justin Boris joined the board in 2020, bringing about 20 years of capital markets expertise, notably as Chief Investment Officer of Ibex Investors. The company also details how they manage risks. Both the full board and its committees are involved in overseeing risks, with the audit committee playing a key role, especially in financial matters. Management is responsible for day-to-day risk management, reporting regularly to the board. They've assessed their directors for independence based on Nasdaq rules, and they've determined that 5 out of their 6 directors are considered independent. This is a good sign for good governance, suggesting that a majority of the board can make decisions without conflicts of interest. Now, let's talk about how the top brass is compensated. The Compensation Committee is in charge of setting executive pay. Their main goals are to tie pay to performance, attract and keep talented executives, and ensure pay is competitive while aligning executive interests with those of the shareholders. They focus on market penetration, revenue growth, and financial performance compared to plans. This is where the numbers get interesting. The summary compensation table shows what the top executives made in 2024 and 2023. For Ricardo Delacoste in 2024, his total compensation was $569,000, which included a salary of $394,000 and a bonus of $146,000. This is up from $467,000 in 2023, which had a lower salary of $375,000 and a bonus of $61,000. The increase in his bonus in 2024 is a positive sign, suggesting improved performance relative to the targets set. Lisa Roger, the CFO, saw a bigger jump. In 2024, her total compensation was $704,000 with a salary of $289,000 and a significant bonus of $39,000, plus stock and option awards adding up. This is a substantial increase from $296,000 in 2023, where her salary was $275,000 and her bonus was $21,000. The large increase in her total compensation in 2024, largely due to stock and option awards, could indicate a reward for her contributions or an incentive for future performance. Looking at the stock awards and option awards columns, we see that a good portion of their compensation isn't just cash. It is in the form of company shares and options to buy shares. This is common for executives as it links their financial success to the company's stock performance. For Lisa Roger, a significant portion of her 2024 compensation comes from these awards, suggesting a strong incentive to drive up the company's stock value. This table provides a more detailed look at the stock options still held by executives. For Ricardo Delacoste, he has a number of unexercised stock options with various exercise prices that are either fully vested or have vesting schedules over the next few years. For example, he has over 19,000 options that vest in increments over the next 3 years, with exercise prices ranging from $4.94 to $9.36. Lisa Roger also holds unexercised stock options, with some already vested, and others with vesting dates extending out to 2032 based on specific conditions. A large grant of 150,000 options is set to vest over several years. These agreements lay out the terms of employment for top executives. Ricardo Delacoste's agreement includes a base salary, performance bonuses tied to revenue and EBITDA, and the potential for additional options. Lisa Roger's agreement also includes a base salary, performance bonuses, and equity awards, with options and shares vesting over time. This structured approach to compensation aims to keep executives focused on achieving specific business goals. This table details how non-employee directors were compensated in 2024. Arnold Tinter received $50,000 in stock awards. Stephen Lang received $25,000 in stock awards and $25,000 in option awards, totaling $50,000. Isabel Ortiz-Cochet received $50,000 in option awards. Alexander Ware received $50,000 in stock awards. Joseph Cugene received $50,000 in stock awards. It is interesting to see that directors are compensated with stock and options, further aligning their interests with the company's long-term performance. This section summarizes the company's plans for issuing stock and options to employees and executives. The company has plans that have been approved by shareholders, with about 682,000 securities available for issuance under options, RSESEs, with an average exercise price of $5.04. There are also over 822,000 shares available for future issuance under these plans. In total, as of the 31st of December 2024, there were 930,000 securities outstanding under equity compensation plans and 822,000 shares remaining available for future issuance. This shows a continued emphasis on using equity as a form of compensation. This is where we find out who actually owns a significant chunk of the company. This table shows beneficial ownership as of the 15th of December 2025. Ricardo Delacoste beneficially owns about 1.9 million shares, representing 11.7% of the company's stock. This includes shares owned by associated entities and those issuable under exercisable options. Stephen Lang beneficially owns approximately 1.6 million shares, or 10.3%. This also includes shares held by associated companies. Justin Boris owns about 1.4 million shares, about 9.0%. A notable portion of his ownership is linked to Ibex Microcap Fund, LLP. Combined, all directors and officers together own over 5.6 million shares, which is a significant 34.2% of the company's stock. This high percentage of insider ownership can be a positive sign, showing that those running the company have a vested interest in its success. Now for the major external shareholders. Unibel holds about 2.2 million shares, making them the largest outside shareholder with 13.8% of the company. Blycoda LP has around 1.4 million shares, or 8.7%. They act as an investment advisor for various clients. Norman H. Pesson and Sandra Fefton jointly own about 1.3 million shares, totaling 8.1%. IBX Investors LLC owns over 1.1 million shares, representing 7.0%. This section deals with any special dealings between the company and its insiders. Barfresh has policies in place to manage related party transactions, requiring board approval for significant loans. Importantly, they state there were no related party transactions in the past 2 completed fiscal years. This suggests clean dealings between the company and its insiders. Here, we see the fees paid to their independent auditors. The company paid ID Bailey LLP for their services. In 2024, the total fees were $118,000, slightly up from $115,000 in 2023. The majority of these fees are for audit services, which is standard for ensuring the financial statements are accurate. For 2024, this was $96,000. They also incurred some audit-related fees totaling $1,000 in 2024. Tax fees accounted for $21,000 in 2024. The company confirms that all these services were pre-approved by the audit committee, which is a requirement to maintain the auditor's independence. Finally, we get to the exhibits. This part lists all the supporting documents included with the filing. We see standard exhibits like certifications from the CEO and CFO, and a suite of inline XBRL files which are used for interactive data reporting. The certifications from the Principal Executive Officer and Principal Financial Officer are crucial. They attest to the accuracy of the report. So, what is the story here? Barfresh Food Group is filing an amendment to provide more clarity on its leadership, ownership, and executive compensation. The key takeaway is that while they are a smaller reporting company with less stringent reporting, they are showing a commitment to transparency by adding this missing information. We see a significant focus on equity compensation for both executives and directors, suggesting they are incentivized to grow the company's value. The high insider ownership is also a noteworthy point. Looking at the financials, we saw increases in executive compensation, particularly for the CFO, which could be tied to performance incentives or expanded responsibilities. The company is clearly using stock and options to reward its key personnel. One notable observation is the lack of related party transactions, which is a positive for corporate governance. Their auditor fees are modest, fitting for a smaller company. In my opinion, Barfresh Food Group seems to be navigating its path as a smaller public entity. The increased compensation for the CFO, alongside the equity awards, suggests a strategy to motivate and retain key talent. The directors also have a substantial stake in the company, which generally leads to better alignment with shareholders. The main risk or opportunity would be their ability to execute their business strategy in the competitive food industry and grow their revenue and profitability, which would then justify these executive and director compensations and drive shareholder value. Alright, that is our breakdown of Barfresh Food Group's amended filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.